best methods for globalising production today. There's four main processes that a company can go down, each with a relative risk attached to it. So if we look at export, this is pretty much a low risk strategy. What it essentially means is that you keep your manufacturing facility in the domestic market, your home country. But what you might do is set up sales offices geographically to markets you want to attack. Now, in terms of investment, it is much cheaper to invest in sales facilities than it is to open up manufacturing and assembly plants. However, you don't get to take the same economies of scale and the improvements in dealing in manufacturing low cost economies as you would if you moved abroad, the manufacturing side of it. So whilst the risk is low, so is the return. If we then look at portfolio investment, companies going in and investing, say, a 20% stake in a logistics firm or a manufacturing firm, by doing this, they can very often gain preferential treatment in terms of service or product manufacture by doing that. The risk in terms of their investment is reasonably low, but you have issues in terms of cultural clashes or ways of doing business in the locality that aren't the ways that we would trade. So, for example, in some of the lower cost economies, it might be natural for, shall we say, companies to offer cash incentives to local officials or to other companies to go and sweeten a business deal. That will be something that's not allowed by UK or US law. So you've got to be careful that the company that you're taking ownership in and you're investing resources in doesn't break laws that your global company is subject to. Outsourcing of production, again, medium risk, but could significantly increase to high risk by association. So what we're saying is here, it's medium risk because you're actually only offering, granting somebody a license or asking them to manufacture your products. So you're not really investing much money into there, but what you are doing is gaining their low cost economy, so you're reducing your production overheads, and you're gaining the logistical and the capacity benefits of it. However, when we talk about by association, there's a video link we'll show later which talks about Nike. And what they did is they set up and outsourced their manufacturing of their t-shirts into Vietnam. And then they were found that these Vietnam companies were forming basically sweatshops where they had 30 and 40 people working 6 days a week, 22 hours a day, and actually being forced to live and having their passports confiscated. That cost Nike thousands of pounds because of bad publicity that went on from there. So beware, if you get involved in some of these, you need to make sure you check these companies out to make sure that they are fair, equitable companies. The final part of globalisation of production in terms of investment could be foreign direct investment. Now this is probably your highest risk strategy because it means that you're having to invest a significant amount of capital into a country's infrastructure and economy to be able to set your own manufacturing plants up here. Now this could be in the form of greenfield investment, which is setting up a plant from scratch, or brownfield, taking over an old industrial unit and changing it into what you want. The benefits here is that you get to absorb all the savings, all the cost efficiency savings, all the production savings, and full advantage of the low cost economy. The negatives is that, again, cultural issues, religious issues, you have the issue of legal problems of investing in there. You may be asked to support the local infrastructure, so there'll be further investments along the way that may not be in the initial agreement of what it costs to set up there. An alternative to this might be a joint venture where 2 or 3 companies form a strategic alliance and go in and set up so they spread that risk. The strategic role of foreign factories. So although initially they're set up and established to produce products at lower cost and lower production levels, over time these workers become more skilled and more developed. And what that means is that it brings with it a development to the local economy, the infrastructure, and the education levels naturally increase of the people. So it's a benefit to the local population. However, negatively, it can impact on the domestic home company environment because they find that jobs are being outsourced out to these lower cost economies. So you can get negative press, negative feelings towards a company moving what was classed as jobs for their own citizens. Additionally, as you develop those, you make the risk of upskilling these people that they can take over the research and development side of it, and eventually set up companies that can do things more efficiently and have the science and technology skills to be able to create original thoughts and ideas that could end up taking market share from the host company. So, examples of recent globalisation. ABN AMRO relocated in 2006-8. They sent 2,400 jobs from back office operations to India to meet cost saving targets and remain competitive. Gillette, 2005-2007. They closed 3 factories, 2 in the UK and 1 in Germany, and transferred work to a new factory in Eastern Europe. Once again, it significantly reduced costs and increased operating efficiencies, but it was done to try and improve the economy scale to maximise the profits for the shareholders. Dyson, 2003-4. They moved production of vacuum cleaners and washing machines to Malaysia. This reduced manufacturing costs and helped to protect UK jobs in design and development. This particular company here, Dyson, is a good example of how it's this value chain we talked about in the beginning. Dyson couldn't have just moved their production out to Malaysia on their own. So a division of my company, Annixter Fasteners, actually used to supply all their fasteners and consumables that went into the manufacture of these parts in the UK. When Dyson wanted to move out to the Malaysia site, Annixter, as a global distributor, had sites out there already. So they were able to move that supply chain of fasteners, knowledge and technology to go out with Dyson. So they saw no reduction in the service levels they were used to, the value, the direct-to-line service they received in the manufacturing process, and they had all the quality approvals and technological approvals they needed to complete their production process. So that's a good example of how a producer or manufacturer forms an alliance with a distributor and logistics company in order to produce best practice and best amount of savings and value added. A final example of the globalisation of production, how it affects the face of the country today, or countries today. Robert Reich argued that they're no longer American products, British products or Japanese products, but global products. If we look at something as simple as the hamburger or the Big Mac in Ukraine, the buns are supplied from Mexico, or the seed should I say, the pickles from Germany, the Hungary supplied the onions, Poland the burger, Ukraine the lettuce. So it's a true multinational burger that goes into one product, and that can be the same as Airbus, as Lego, as Gillette, as we talked about earlier. These global companies producing elements of their products all over the world today, as we see it today.